Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 251. I am Brendan. PFL, number 3 from 2023. We are going to be talking about that here. We're going to be covering the early card. I thought it was the main card. I have no idea. They ran it like it was the main card, and then they had the... Anyway, this one's covering Olivier Aubin-Mercier versus Shane Burgos, Clay Collard versus... Yamato, Nishikawa, and a few other fights. We're going to cover those ones here. We're going to break them down round by round. If you're looking for the rest of the fights, that'll be in the next video. I'll put that out tomorrow. And if I'm sniffling, I'm sorry. I did cut the grass for the first time today, so my allergies are probably kicking in, and that's fantastic. Real quick, if you like this kind of stuff, you like MMA, you like podcasts about MMA, you like fight breakdowns, I do that stuff here. So subscribe to the channel so the next video is coming out. I'd really appreciate it. Sweet. Let's get started. Olivier Aubin-Mercier, last year's 155-pound champion, taking on the UFC standout Shane Burgos. This fight was fantastic for the most part for a couple of reasons. It wasn't exactly a barn burner with a ton of sloppy, crap action, where the guys were just throwing haymakers and stuff like that. It wasn't quite that. It was technical. It was a technical fight. Burgos was kicking the lead leg of OAM early, and then Mercier was using the jab really well. OAM with a hard body kick to the liver area didn't seem to bother Burgos, but then again, nothing does. They both move in, land really well. OEM was getting the better of the exchanges in the striking, but it was really close in the first round. So every time they would move in, OEM just seemed to land a little bit cleaner. It looked like when Shane would return, OEM would put his guard up and block. And that's where the difference maker was for me. OEM was able to land a straight to the body, hard jabs, landed a few low kicks. He got the guard back up to defend. That was a really close round, but I gave it 10-9 to OEM. Shane was now landing, he was landing better in the second round to start because he was using longer combinations, and that opened up OEM's defense. He wasn't able to block all of them, but OEM stuck to the basics with the jabs and the 1-2s. He landed some hard shots in there as well, but he went in for the double leg, got the single, then took back control. He was landing some knees to the butt when he was in dominant position there, and then he got on top of him. Then he took the back, and he was the backpack for a while. OEM was let the backpack go. He got the trip to take control and did some more damage on the ground again. Great round for OEM. You can see here on the AI scoring, it had it 76-39 in favor of OAM. He did get outstruck in this fight, but remember, they don't break it down round by round here, and I'm already counting so many things, I don't know if I can count that too. Man, I am really red, huh? Burgos was using that jab, staying active, but OAM was pushing him against the cage, back to where the second round ended. So the way the second round ended is kind of how the third round started. So OAM worked his way to the back again. He got the body triangle, and he stayed there for a majority of the last round. Burgos complaining to the ref about it being boring and but whatever, let me go. I'm not a fan of that ever, but he got him off of him with about 20 seconds left, and he just unloaded. He tried to land something. Upon further review, if you watch the replay, he didn't land very much. I didn't give much credence to it when I watched it live anyway, so I actually gave all 3 rounds to OAM. All 3 judges saw it that way as well. I agree with that. Now, Shane Burgos coming over to the PFL. What does this mean for this season for him? Do I think he has a future in this season, going to the playoffs? Absolutely. The guy has an insane chin. He just took on the guy who walked through the division essentially last year. Wasn't really challenged and knocked out the guy Stevie Ray, who challenged him for the title. And the thing is, he's just a hard opponent to game plan for because he's defensively sound. He's very good at controlling the fight wherever it goes. He's a really good wrestler. He's got a really good jab coming out of that camp, just like everybody else does. And he's, like I said, he's just a hard puzzle to solve because he's good everywhere. And unless you excel in one area and can maintain in the others, meaning if you excel in striking and you can defend against his takedown attempts, he's probably going to find a hole. in your game and exploit it. So you're either hoping for a big shot to land in some weird exchange, or, oh yeah, that's the other thing, is he's got really good cardio too. So it's unlikely that he's going to, gas himself out. What does this mean for Burgos this season? The other lightweights in the division can wrestle. So if he can't stay on his feet, he's going to have a problem. It's just the way of the world, man. If you can't wrestle in modern MMA, going up against top-tier competition, regardless of what league you're in, right? This is not the mid-2000s anymore. These secondary, what some people consider secondary leagues outside of the UFC, are full of people who have well-rounded games and especially can wrestle. And if it's not everyone, you're going to have some of them who can, and they can do it really well, and they're going to take you down, and they're going to control you. So if you can't stop that, you're going to have a bad time. But yeah, I think his striking's great. He's got that great chin. He's tenacious. He's got good cardio. He can be a problem for a lot of people. He just has to stay on his feet. And if he can do that, maybe this was a bad example because OAM is really tenacious and he's good with those takedowns, and he got the back super easy. He didn't really get a lot of takedowns, to be honest. He just climbed up the back and put the body triangle in. So if Burgos can avoid that in the other fights, I think he can put on a really good show. Ow. And make it to the playoffs this year. Gonna need to win his next fight for sure. All right, Clay Collard taking on Yamato Nishikawa. Good fight. Clay Collard ends up getting the decision win here. I agree with it. We'll talk about that. We'll break it down. But story of the fight was his boxing and his ability to take damage. And we'll talk about why that is. Also, he was just a far larger guy. It looked like Nishikawa walks around at 155. He's not a big dude. He's 5'7". He just doesn't look big. Clay Collard's a bigger guy. He's 6 foot tall. Probably cuts some weight to get down to 155. Collard started the fight with his usual hooks, going to the body and upstairs. By the way, if you look at the striking numbers here, it's unbelievable. He threw like over 100 every single round, I think. It's just unbelievable the amount of strikes he threw. I know this is overused, but it's true. Go throw 300 strikes. Just go throw it. If you say, oh, who cares? He missed half of them. He only landed 150. Fine. Go throw 100 strikes and tell me how you feel. Now throw 200. Now throw 300 and tell me how you feel. Chances are you're going to be tired just from throwing punches at the air. Now add into that all of the defensive stuff, moving around, defending takedowns, going for takedowns, adding in the clinch, the fact that you're fighting another person, so your breathing's going to be interrupted. That alone is impressive. Nishikawa was kicking the legs of Collard. That was the key for him. He just didn't execute enough early. But Collard landed a huge right hand, sending Nishikawa to the fence, rocking him a little bit. Collard's pressure will not stop, and Nishikawa wasn't able to keep the distance. Collard was working to the body nonstop with his hands and just the pressure. It was so intense. This first round was all Collard. Collard was digging those hooks, uppercuts to the body, staying in tight, not letting him breathe. Collard with some thudding low kicks, and then back to some of the clean boxing. It was just an onslaught from Collard. Holy shit, that was a good round for him, 10-9. Second round, I'm pretty sure in between rounds, pretty sure Randy Couture said, man, that kid is tough as shit. I don't think he thought his mic wasn't hot, and it was quiet, so maybe it wasn't even his mic. It was picked up on somebody else. I just thought it was funny. Collard's right back on the pressure. Nishikawa landing some decent leg kicks again, swinging hard to get Collard back. Collard just wouldn't stop moving forward. He led with a Superman punch and followed up with a combo. Collard did this weird thing. It looked cool and it was effective. I've never seen someone lead with the Superman punch and then throw a combo after that. The Superman punch is kind of like a singular thing. I've never seen it thrown in with a combo so smooth. Nishikawa was able to take the legs out of Collard a few times with those low kicks, so he kicked his legs out multiple times. Nishikawa made Collard drop and limp with another leg kick. Nishikawa had some really good success with those leg kicks in this round, but the whole round he was taking damage. Every time he would land a leg kick, he would take 2 to the face and 3 to the body. He just took way too much damage for that to count in his direction, or to add up more in favor of him. I had it 20-18 for Collard. Going in to the last round here. Collard was trying to stay in tight, using that tight boxing. Nishikawa going to the well over and over again with those leg kicks. Collard was staying in tight, stopping those leg kicks from happening by staying really close to him. If you can eliminate, it's called crowding the kicker. If you get really close to him, it's hard for them to land those kicks anywhere, let alone to the legs, unless your name is Justin Gagey, who somehow finds leg kicks when you're on top of him. Collard was staying in tight, landing. He ends up getting the takedown. And then he lands some ground and pound. Nishikawa was throwing up submissions his last round. He threw up triangle submissions multiple times. They just weren't there. Collard just stood up out of them. They end up standing back up. Collard went for a guillotine. He used that to get on top and landed some great ground and pound of his own. He stands up out of another triangle. Collard wins his last round. All that damage, and even when Nishikawa landed something, he landed right back, and the sub attempts just weren't there. So I had 30-27 for Clay Collard, and that's how everybody scored it. So I don't know much about this Nishikawa kid, to be honest. I've never heard of him, never seen him fight before this. It looks like he's tough, but I think he's fighting up a weight class. I think he needs to go down a weight class if he's got to have some more oomph and some more power and pop on those shots to really fight people off, because someone like Collard, but I mean, he stood in there, so I know he's tough, but I'm saying I could see him getting wrestled to the ground and controlled very easily by a lot of guys in this division. All right. Now to all the finishes. This card started out pretty exciting. Denis Goltsov versus Cezar Ferreira. Goltsov had the power in his kicks. Ferreira just wasn't able to keep him away. And then, because every time he'll get in close quarters, Goltsov, he's the one landing the damage, and Ferreira was trying to back him off or circle out or do something. He just couldn't keep him away. Goltsov got the takedown, landed some huge ground and pound, got the finish, and those are some really hard shots on the ground. Like, they were very, very nasty. The hammer fists. And then when he ends up turning over and putting his face on the mat, just those tight hooks, it was nasty the way he finished that one. Great win for Goltsov. Great KO, or TKO. All right, to the guy who was gypped last year, Carlos Leal versus David Zawada. This one didn't last very long either. Leal was landing some hard low kicks. Hard low kicks. Zawada tries to counter, but Leal kept his guard up. More leg kicks from Leal and one return from Zawada. Leal landed a great right hand and a hard left hook, another right hand hurting Zawada, and then Zawada tried to walk him down, and Leal landed a huge right hand, put him down, and then with the put him down, followed up, and got the finish. Leal had that fight the whole time. It was just a great performance for him. So Leal, obviously, I said he got gypped. So last year he was on the wrong side of a split decision. One of the few with Sadabu C that he shouldn't have won, but he ended up getting. Last year I thought that was total bullshit, but hey, it is what it is. And Leal, he's legit, man. He's got a chin. He hits hard. He's tenacious. A lot of those things. Like, I've already described I've described a few fighters like that today, but I mean it. And Leal's very good. He was in control of this fight the entire time, doing great damage anywhere the fight went, whether it was in the close range, long distance, when he was on the back foot or forefoot, it didn't matter. It seemed like he was in control of his situation no matter where they were fighting, and he landed that huge right hand and got the finish. So great win for him. Easy, quick 6 for Carlos Leal. All right, and the first card, Magomed Umalatov. Magomed Umalatov versus Dilano Taylor. This was the shortest fight. Mostly just jabbing at distance for the first minute. They had some close interaction. And then as I was writing that, right, I'm typing this down, taking notes, and Umalatov lands a right hand, wobbles Taylor, then follows up, and then they call the fight. Rightfully so. So I thought the stoppage was a bit early, but only because Taylor immediately got up. But so I was like, I thought the stoppage was a bit early, but you usually can't fall face first after getting hit. The fight is most likely going to be stopped, and that's what we saw here. He got hit really hard with the right hand and followed up, and Dilano Taylor fell face first onto the mat. He woke back up after that. The problem is you can't have your face hit the mat pretty much ever. It's always going to get counted as a knockout. Not always. Most of the time, it's just a good sign that you do not have your wits about you, and hey, we should stop this fight. It sucks for Taylor because he had such a good season last season. I hope he comes back from this, and Umalatov looks like a freaking, not a world beater necessarily, but a real problem. He hits hard, and if he can move in and he can wrestle too, that guy's going to be a real issue. So I'm excited to see him this season. Overall, the early card or the regular card, whatever you want to call this, it was fun. Moved at really quick pace. There was lots of good fights on here, and obviously the main event for me it worked. I liked it. So that is it. If you're looking for the rest of the fights, I'm going to cover all of them in the next video. So I'll put that out tomorrow. I watched some of them already tonight. I'll watch the rest of them tonight, and I'll put out the video next. It's just weird the way they did this. Like it gives me old UFC vibes where they would do post limbs, right? Fights after the main event. It's really strange. I don't know why they did it like this. I don't know if they were afraid to put Sad Boussy as the headliner. I would be, to be honest with you, with how boring he is. Meanwhile, and that's the thing, is like if he gets a cool knockout, that's awesome. It's just, last year he put up a bunch of stinkers. All right, so if you like all this stuff, please subscribe to the channel. It'll let you know when the next video is coming out. I'd really appreciate it. If you like this video, click the like button. I appreciate that as well. If you're looking for any of my other breakdowns, go check out some of them. I covered the big UFC card last weekend. I'll be covering the UFC this weekend as well. Everything in the past for the past few years. So I've got a large back catalog if you want to go check those out. So appreciate y'all. Love you. Have a great week.